I would like you guys to open page 37, where it says describing people, character. Kako ne bi bilo zabune, obratite pažnju na brojke koje su napisane na sredini strane pri dnu. Znači ne ove sa strane. To su dodavali u kopirnici i iskreno napravili su još veću zabunu. A ja nisam imao prilike da sredim ove glavne brojke što su na sredini. So, page 37. Describing people, character. We'll start with reading first. Okay, let's start. Who would like to read intellectual ability? Yes, Natalia, go ahead.
Ability. Intelligent, bright, clever, sharp, shrewd, able, gifted, talented, and brainy, which is colloquial. Lacking ability, stupid, foolish, half-witted, simple, silly, brainless, daft, dumb, and dim. The last four are predominantly colloquial words. And clever in a negative way, using brains to trick or deceive, cunning, crafty, and sly.
Okay, thank you. Let's hear someone read attitudes towards life. B. Luca.
Amal is pessimistic, while Nita is optimistic. He always expects the worst to happen, while she looks on the bright side. It is strange that one of the twins is so extroverted, while the other is so introverted. Ben loves being the focus of attention, while Bill would rather be alone with his thoughts. I feel very tense, or wound up, stressed out, after a very busy day at work, but after a hot bath and a nice cup of tea, I'll soon feel relaxed. Jane is very sensible. She'd never do anything stupid. In other words, she's very practical and down to earth. Rupert is very sensitive. He gets very upset or worked up, more colloquial, if he feels people are criticizing him.
Okay, thank you. C, attitude towards other people. Let's hear Naja.
Enjoying others' company, sociable or gregarious, disagreeing with others, quarrelsome or argumentative, taking pleasure in others' pain, cruel or sadistic, relaxed in attitude to self and others, easygoing, even-tempered and laid back, not polite to others, impolite, rude, ill-mannered and discourteous, telling the truth to others, honest, trustworthy, reliable and sincere, unhappy if others have what one does not have on oneself, jealous and envious.
Okay, thank you. And finally, D, one person's meat is another person's poison. Anna?
Determined, obstinate, stubborn, pig-headed, thrifty or economical, stingy, mean, tight-fisted, miserly,
Miserly,
self-assured.
Kako? Miserly.
Oh, miserly, self-assured, confident, self-important, arrogant, full of oneself, unconventional or original, eccentric, odd, peculiar, weird, frank, direct, open, blunt, abrupt, brusque.
Yeah, or brusque, something like that. Brusque.
Curt, broad-minded, unprincipled, permissive, inquiring, inquisitive, nosy, generous, extravagant, innocent, naive, ambitious, pushy, assertive, aggressive, bossy.
Okay, thank you. So obviously, in this last part, you had let's say contradictions. On the left hand side, you had positive characteristics, and on the right hand side, you had negative characteristics. Are there any words here on this whole page that are unfamiliar to you that maybe we should explain further?
Brusque, for example.
Brusque is someone who is very rough, someone who is very rude, who is somewhat ill-mannered, you could say.
Okay, makes sense.
What about gregarious?
Oh, okay, it's gregarious actually.
Gregarious.
It's, well, something like sociable, someone who is very talkative, who is very extroverted and open towards people.
Okay, and Angela asks about miserly.
One thing, it's actually miserly. It's
Miserly.
derived from the word miser. Someone who is very, very tight with money, someone who really does not like to spend a lot, just like tight-fisted or stingy. It's pretty much the same thing in meaning. Okay, let me ask you something. How would you guys define assertive? That's in the final line on the whole page. Luca?
Well, that's someone who likes to be dominant and likes to kind of have the main say in everything, and he puts himself out there.
Yeah, someone who is, I guess, confident and reliable to an extent. Yeah, someone who is somewhat dominant. Okay. Okay, if there aren't any more words, we're going to move on to the next page, 38, with the exercises. Let me see. You guys can do the first exercise, the fourth one, and number 6. So 1, 4, and 6 on this whole page. I'll give you guys about 5 or 6 minutes. You should be able to do it quickly. And then we'll check your answers.
I'm sorry, can you repeat? I didn't hear it buffered.
It's the very next page, 38. So exercises 1, 4, and 6.
Thank you.
Sure. I'll write it down. Okay, are there any volunteers? Okay, we have several. Let's hear Stevan now. Could you do exercise number 1?
Yeah, sure. So number 1, clever, is half-witted.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, extroverted, is introverted. Rude is courteous. Courteous. Correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Cruel is kind-hearted.
Mm-hmm.
Generous is tight-fisted, and unsociable is gregarious.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, thank you. We'll be moving on to exercise 4. So, magazines often publish questionnaires which are supposed to analyze aspects of your character. So you have to match the words below with the question. Let's start. Okay, let's hear. Natalia, you can do the first 4, and then Nadia can do the remaining 3, if that's okay.
Yeah, okay. So, do you prefer to be in the company of other people? That's sociable. Look at the picture. Do you think my glass is half empty? That's pessimistic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you find it easy to tell your boss if you feel he or she has treated you badly? That's assertive. And do you always look out of the window if you hear a car draw up? That's inquisitive.
Okay, thank you. Nadia?
Do you often buy your friends presents for no particular reason? Extravagant. Do you frequently disagree with what other people say? Assertive. Or no, argumentative.
Mm-hmm.
And do you lie awake at night if someone had said something unkind to you? Sensitive.
Yeah, exactly. And finally, exercise number 6. Can you complete each of these word forks? Naravno, ovdje imate mnogo više opcija od samo 3, but let's hear some of them. Ne mora niko da se javlja za ovo vežbanje. You guys can write down your suggestions in the chat box, so we get as many as we can. So what about number 1, self something? What did you guys write? Self-confident, self-controlled, self-centered. Oh, great! There are a lot of options here. Self-centered, self-indulgent, self-assured, self-important, self-deprecating. Excellent. Self-sufficient, self-sacrificing, selfless, even, yes. Self-taught, self-disciplined, self-conscious, self-aware. Excellent. Yeah, these are all great options. What about number 2? Something tempered. Okay, short-tempered, bad-tempered, even-tempered, ill-tempered, hot-tempered even. Yes, excellent. Mild-tempered. Yes. Okay, yeah. Good-tempered. Yes. Okay, we've already moved on to number 3, I see. Okay, what about number 3? Minded. Open-minded, broad-minded, sharp-minded, close-minded, narrow-minded, single-minded, small-minded. Very good. Okay, excellent. Okay, good. We'll be moving on to something else. The next page you have is supposed to be with the number 35. And it says personality plus at the top of the page.
Yes.
Okay, it has a really big list of characteristics or personal traits. So what I'd like, well, as many of you as you'd like, is to have someone take the first row of these traits. For example, the first one has animated, adaptable, analytical, and adventurous. And tell us which of these words describes him or her in the best way. And maybe comment on it a little bit if one likes. So are there any volunteers to give it a shot to start with? I mean, for example, I can do the first one. For example, animated, adaptable, analytical, and adventurous. Personally speaking, probably analytical, because I sometimes like to, maybe even too much, I like to analyze things into very minor details and try to see why are things the way they are, not necessarily in terms of machines or things, but probably people, why they react the way they react. Maybe also adaptable, because different situations require different reactions from me, so I try to be as adaptable as I can. So that's what I meant by saying which of these describe you in the best manner, and maybe give a little description on it. So let's have the next row. Nadia, izvoli.
I would say firstly that I'm independent because I started living alone. I mean, at the age of 15 because of sports I play. And I'm very social. I think that's the reason too, because I had to talk with so many people that I didn't know. And I had a lot of situations when I met someone new. And I'm a big talker, and I'm adaptable for all the same reasons.
Okay, very good. This was okay, but I meant just the one particular row, not the whole list. In my case, I used just the first row, the first four adjectives, in order to sort of describe myself. So that's what I meant. So the next one would be angered easily, aimless, argumentative, or alienated. Naravno, ako nijedna posebno od ovih opcija vas ne opisuje, možete da iskoristite i neku drugu ili da objasnite zašto vas ne opisuje neka od ovih osobina. Ksenija?
Pre svega bih pitala što znači aimless.
Someone who doesn't really have an aim, literally, or a goal. Someone who does things chaotically.
Dobro.
Besciljan, doslovno preveden.
No, I don't think that I'm aimless at all. But I think I'm angered easily because there are so many things that I don't like, but they can make me feel irritated.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I'm argumentative because then I have arguments to tell to other people on the things that they made me angered.
Mm-hmm.
So I often tell my arguments, and I'm not so sure what means alienated.
Alienated means isolated, separated from other people. Mentally,
yes,
of course.
Yes, I'm alienated too. I like to be alone and in my own world, and I often I often get lost in that world when I'm with other people, so I think I am alienated too.
Okay. Thank you. This was very elaborate. Good. Okay. Let's have someone comment on bold, bouncy, balanced, and behaved. Anya, izvoli.
Well, I'd say I'm bold because I'm not afraid to speak up and say what's on my mind, and also I'm not afraid to do some stuff, or I'm not scared to do anything that I think of.
Okay. Thank you. Next we have bossy, brassy, bashful, and blank. For some further, let's say for an additional description, brassy is someone who is loud, someone who is a show-off. And bashful is someone who is on the opposite end of the scale, someone who is very shy. Anyone? Milos, izvoli.
I would say for myself that I'm blank because I don't give actually any reactions to almost anything, except if it interests me or it really depends on something. That I need to do.
Okay. Fair enough. Thank you. Next we have considerate, competitive, convincing, and controlled. Lea, izvoli.
Well, I think that the one that would describe me best is competitive, because I always like to see how whether or not to compare myself to others, to see sort of I don't know, not who is better, but to see if I am improving myself or if I should continue working on more. And also I think I can be very convincing when I want to. And I can also be, I'm usually very considerate about other people's feelings and often care about the people who are around me.
Okay. These are great qualities to have. Thank you. Next we have charming, chart maker, contented, and chief. Mate, izvoli.
Well, to be honest, it's between confident, consistent, and cultured. But if I had to choose only one, then I'd say confident. I can be quite bold sometimes. I don't have problems speaking in front of a crowd or anything like that.
Okay. Yeah, this is actually a very important quality because obviously probably not all of you, but most of you will become teachers or professors or something like that. So it's very important not to have stage fright. But on the other hand, that is something that is, you can work on this, and experience makes better, or practice makes perfect, if you will. Okay, I think we skipped one, but that's okay. We'll not be doing the whole list anyway. Luca, izvoli.
Yes, so critical, changeable, crafty, or compromising. I'd say probably critical, because I like to, as you said, you're analytical. I like to analyze pretty much everything, and sometimes people hate me for it because I can kind of ruin certain things for them, or I like to talk about things that people don't often think or like to think about. So, yeah, I like to see everything through a critical lens.
Yeah, that's a great attitude. Yes, sometimes I guess it can annoy certain people in your vicinity, but you know, you have to. I guess you have a good attitude for yourself, and that's the most important thing. Okay, delightful, daring, detailed, and diplomatic. Anna?
I think actually I've been told that I'm diplomatic by several people, and I think for myself that I am, and I'm pretty much detailed, and like pretty, almost everything I do, almost.
Mm-hmm. Okay, very good. Demonstrative, decisive, dry humor, and deep. Anyone? Ok, pošto nemamo volontera za ovako nešto, možemo da odradimo onako kako je, ako se ne varam, Nađa odradila. If someone likes to describe himself or herself using this whole list and choosing whichever adjectives they like, they can. So we can maybe discuss some additional words from this list. Are there any volunteers for something like that, perhaps? Xenia?
So I can choose anything from the list.
Yes, absolutely
I
anything.
understood you well.
Yeah.
Okay. Just one question before I start. Do I can I use the words we have already had or no?
Yeah, sure. Anything from the list. If obviously you can use it in your speech, that's okay.
Okay. So I think I'm bossy.
Okay.
Because I want to anybody to be what they want to be, but it's not always good, I can say. And I think I have dry humor.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately.
Why? That's a good thing. That's always funny.
Oh.
At least from my perspective. Maybe someone else will disagree, but dry humor is good.
I also think I'm disorganized, especially for studies and everything like that. So I'm forcing myself to be to have planners or everything like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I'm forceful too, and friendly, and fearful, and cheerful. I'm always happy and always positive. I can see the day I was negative or sad or anything like that. I really think I'm cheerful and happy.
Mm-hmm. Okay, positive.
Yes,
I guess.
yes, indeed. I'm a bit insecure, I can say, but just a bit. And lively.
Lively, actually.
Lively. Sometimes I can be loud. And I sometimes can be manipulative. I'm lazy. I'm very, very, very lazy. And naive. I can be shy sometimes. And I can often show off.
Mm-hmm.
Then think I'm a good listener. and I want to be a leader, but I'm also a loner. Then I can say I am a warrior, and
I'm sorry, did you say loyal?
warrior.
Aha, okay, warrior.
And I think I'm friendly, because I can easily make friendships with other people. I don't know if I said that I'm fearful.
I think you have, yeah, I think you mentioned that. Why? What are you afraid of?
I'm afraid of many things, for example, spiders. I'm really, really afraid of spiders, but it is, kako da kažem, da sam otišla u krajnost sa tim.
You went to extremes with it.
Yes, I went to extremes with that.
Okay. Well, everyone, I guess, has certain animals that make them scared. So I fully understand. I know several people who are afraid of spiders really much. So it's a usual phobia, if you will. Okay. Thank you for the honest answers. Obviously, you chose both positive and negative qualities. So
Of course.
we all have these. Thank you. Very good. Would someone else give it a shot? Give us a brief description. Zorana, izvoli.
So, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, I'd say I'm restless, and I always say that all the time, and people always tell me what's new, so I guess I'm that. And I like to think that I'm a good listener and a considerate person, and that I'm tolerant of others, people's opinions and thoughts, and I'm sort of idealistic when it comes to what I believe in. I should be like a tolerant person, and I can be a really perfectionist person, and sometimes that's not good because when I don't do something like I wish to do, I can sort of be depressed about it, and it's not really good. And I guess I like to be really frank with people because I hate when someone is not direct with me and honest about certain things. As much as I'm patient, it can be sometimes irritating. And I guess I'm timid and I'm a loner. Well, I just prefer it that way. That's all.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, thank you. This was another great character description, very detailed. Any other volunteers? Katarina, izvoli.
Well, from all of the things in the list, I guess the most accurate thing to me would be that I'm very disorganized, because when I always put down plans but don't really follow them. I'm also, because of that, very forgetful. As for other qualities, I can be very skeptical of things, and sometimes too analytical for some people. Also, I can be sometimes kind of unaffectionate, where if somebody tells me something or confesses about something, I can sometimes really give off a dry answer. I don't know how else to describe it.
Okay.
I also have a dry sense of humor, and I'm very scatterbrained. I'm also, let me see, yeah, I'm also idealistic, which doesn't really go with being disorganized. So these two really clash. And I'm also crafty. I guess I'd say that.
Mm-hmm. Interesting combination. Well, it doesn't necessarily mean that being idealistic doesn't go well with disorganized. Obviously, sometimes you do have ideals, but find it hard maybe to put them into practice. But some of these things can change over time. I mean, maybe the lack of organization may be changed. Obviously, don't lose your ideals.
Yeah.
That's obviously very important. Thank you. Very good. Okay, is anyone else interested in maybe sharing some of their character traits? Okay, we have 2 volunteers. Let's hear Nicolia first.
Well, I guess I would say that personally I am very moody. I feel like I can change my mood very often, out of nowhere, sometimes. And I would say that I am hard to approach in a one-on-one setting, especially in real life, like in person. But I would like to think that when I do make friends with someone, I stay loyal. I tend to make my decisions very emotionally based and rash, rather than more logical. I'd like to say that I'm very talkative to people that I am open with, but I tend to seem more closed in with groups that I don't feel close with. And I would say that I like to be artistic and creative in my free time. And I'm probably one of the more messy people that I do know. I don't know what else I could say.
Okay, that's enough. That's an interesting thing, you say that you're messy. Sometimes, goes hand in hand with being artistic for some reason. Znate već umetnički haos, što bi se reklo. So, if you're artistic, then it's perfectly fine. It doesn't necessarily need to be a bad thing. Thank you. This was another great description of oneself, I guess. One's character. Dejan, would you like to start?
Sure. Well, first and foremost, I am extremely shy, which annoys me, because even if I would like to participate, I am really scared easily, as we can see now.
That's okay. Relax. You don't have to say anything you don't want to, obviously.
I know, but I should speak more. Anyway, even though I'm really shy, I'm also a workaholic, which is weird. I very often overwork myself, which is not good.
No, it's not.
It's really not. I'm really sensitive. Even the smallest of things can affect me. Sometimes I would describe myself as too sensitive.
Okay.
I am extreme worrier. Extreme worrier. I worry about everything. Which is why I'm a planner. I have to plan everything. I have to know everything, so I don't worry as much.
Okay, makes you feel secure, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Luka, izvoli.
So I'd say first and foremost, I'm, I guess, analytical, which also goes hand in hand with being critical and skeptical, in my opinion. I'm skeptical because I like to question pretty much everything. Excuse me.
Sure.
And I'm very much into forming opinions and trying to find like solutions for things. I love politics. I love stuff like social commentary, stuff like that. I'm also, that kind of goes into me being argumentative because I often have discussions with people and arguments over all the different kinds of things. And one of my favorite things to argue about is like art and music. I love art, which is why I'd say I'm musical. I wouldn't say that I can't play any instruments, not yet, at least. But I guess I can sing, and I like. I mean, I just love music in general, and the way it makes me feel, and I love all the different kinds of music. I listen to anything from like black metal to, I don't know, turbo folk.
That's a really wide span of music.
Yeah, I know. I'm also kind of I'm introverted, but I'm also I can also be loud and daring, and I have a bit of a dry sense of humor, which I guess these are two kind of conflicting things. I mean, introverted and loud, but I guess I kind of think of it being introverted as generally being, I guess, drained by other people, which is definitely true, and I definitely love my alone time. But when I'm with people, I like to be loud, and I like to make jokes, and yeah, and daring, just because I'm a bit edgy. I like to make offensive jokes.
Okay, fair enough. It's an interesting thing because I find certain traits that all of you have mentioned so far that I've noticed most of them in myself and in my generation when I was studying, and it's interesting that the people studying English language and literature are quite, well, just not quite, but just a little different from everyone else for whatever reason. I guess that whole department caters to a particular kind of people. It's an interesting
I think we've noticed that, actually.
Sorry?
I think we've noticed that actually we get along pretty well.
Oh, really? That's fantastic. That's excellent. I'm really glad about that. Okay, Luka, would you like to add anything else, or should we move on to the next volunteer? Okay. Thank you. This was very good. We also have Vanya.
Yes, I think I'm probably the most different, but also the most similar to everyone else. I used to be shy and like introverted, close to myself, don't really talk to people. But from like 3 years ago, I started to being really open with people and being sociable and talking to everyone and anyone I meet. And I sort of got it from my curiosity. Of anything else, I'm curious. I like to know everything. I like to talk to everyone about everything. I just like to know stuff. but I'm also forgetful. I don't know how that works, but I usually forget more important things like housework or more chores, something like that. But I remember something I read 5 years ago on a sketchy website somewhere, sometime. When it comes to like other personality traits, I like to be there for people, even though I know they're using me. I like to be there for them. I don't know why. It's obviously they're using me, but yeah, I like helping people as much as I can. And I like to listen a lot and talk a lot. I'm loud and I am adventurous. I like to try everything when there's a possibility and stuff that some people might find out dangerous, but I usually think from my head if it's actually a health hazard at that point. And when it comes to people from this department, I think I'm a lot like them, even though maybe this doesn't seem like that, but we all talk about stuff that we have similarities, like when it comes to our personalities, the things we like, music we listen to. As Lucas said, he has a wide span of music. I can say that for myself. I used to listen to EDM, then a little bit of alternative music, metal, rock, and then I started listening to something more pop-ish. When it comes to our music, I listen to usually everything. So I think I'm just everywhere and nowhere at the same time.
Okay, yeah, that is another interesting thing. Yeah, even people who are, I guess, different, like you said, you're very adventurous and things like that, they still find common ground with other people at our department. So that's a great thing, despite all the differences. Okay, thank you. Introverted doesn't mean not being social, just that your social battery drains when you're around people. I guess you could say that, and it drains rather quickly compared to some other people, especially the extroverts. Okay, are there any other volunteers? Would anyone else like to try? Matea?
Yeah, well, as I've previously mentioned, I'm really confident. I've never had any stage fright, and I was always sure of myself. So as far as confidence goes, with confidence, you have to be talkative, you have to be social, you have to be friendly. But I'd say that I don't want to sound narcissistic, but I've also been told that I'm quite charming. So yeah, that kind of goes hand to hand. I'm also really consistent. I've actually had some really big decisions that I'd made previously that I've actually followed up on. So yeah, but then as far as actually, yeah, I'm adaptable also, but as far as negative traits go, I can be really argumentative.
Okay.
I actually really like to quarrel about some silly things. And then I can be nonchalant and tactless. So, yeah.
Okay, thank you. You reminded me actually of something. Luca also mentioned that he likes to debate over certain more serious topics like social commentary and politics and everything. I'm not sure if you're familiar with, but we actually have an elective course called English Through Debate. It's on your sophomore year, so next year for you guys. It might be interesting for all of you who like to obviously practice their speeches or speaking in general, speaking skills, and also argue about some very important topics, especially concerning politics in Serbia. So might be interesting for some of you if obviously you like these things. So keep that in mind. It's the third semester, so yeah, it's in your second year. It's Professor Dusan, whom I'm not sure if you've met already, and myself, but mostly him. I just help out with a few of the classes. Okay. Well, this has actually been a really fun discussion. Would anyone else like to add his or her 2 cents using this list of adjectives? Okay, then we'll move on to something else. But first, I'd like to give you guys homework, and this is basically a little exercise for you for the midterm and for writing in general. I'd like you guys to write a text where you can describe yourself or someone you know. It's perfectly fine. So if you, for example, describe yourself, you describe the way you look in the sense of, for example, face, complexion, and things like that we've already done in class, as well as the clothes that you usually wear. And you also describe your personality using the words or the vocabulary that we mentioned today, whether it's on this personality plus page or the thing that we did at the beginning of the class, describing people's character. Naravno, ne morate samo te reči, možete da iskoristite I nešto sasvim drugo što nismo spominjali, but make it into a little text. Tekst neka bude nekih 100 do 150 reči. Nema potrebe duže, znači to je otprilike 10 do 15 rečenica, zavisno od dužine rečenica. I naravno imate rok nekih nedelju dana, znači do idućeg časa da to sastavite. Ne mora da bude, kažem, nešto preterano dugo. Sve ove instrukcije ću svakako da vam stavim I kada budem postavio zadatak posle časa, tako da imate sve tu opisano za slučaj da zaboravite or something. Are there any questions concerning this homework or maybe anything we've done today so far? Anastasia, izvoli.
Do we type it, write it, and is there a word limit, or how long should it be?
Yeah, I mentioned the word limit, so it's up to 150 words, 100 to 150 words, or 10 to 15 sentences. That's roughly the same. Yes, I would like you guys to type it. I'll send you the assignment in the Google Classroom. So you can type it in Microsoft Word, because obviously I'd like to give you guys comments on these texts, whether it's, grammar-wise or vocabulary-wise or everything else. So it would be really hard for me to do this if you just write it down and then send a picture. Obviously not the hardest thing in the world, but if you can, write it in Microsoft Word or Google Docs and then send it. Naravno, ako neko baš ne bude mogao da iz tehničkih razloga da iskuca tekst, može slobodno naravno I da napiše, da uslika I da pošalje na taj način. But try to type it. Was there anything else that you've asked? I'm sorry, I may have forgotten.
No, that's it. Thank you very much.
Okay. Dobro, to je što se toga tiče I ovim bi zapravo završili gradivo koje će vam biti potrebno za kolokvijum. So basically everything relating to personality, appearance, clothes, basically everything that we've done up to today's class. And we'll start something completely new actually right now, a new topic, if you will. And that one starts on page 39, which has a title, Jobs. So to sort of continue a little bit of discussion, what do you find an ideal job? Is there something that you've always wanted to do? Is there something that you'd like to do once you finish your studies, whether it's related to English or not? Would anyone like to comment on that, perhaps? Okay. We have several volunteers. Nicolia, Izvoli?
Well, I think what I would like to do doesn't really correlate with what I'm finishing. In a sense, me studying this is just out of pure interest and love for the language. But if I if I could choose what I would do with my life, I would probably want to reach a good enough level of art one day, or writing, where I could use that to sustain myself. So something related to just being more artistic and creative. I don't really know what job in mind, but it's definitely not something, I guess, related to this.
Okay. Well, it can be, to an extent, obviously. If it's connected to writing, and if you write in English, maybe, then it has something to do with it. And it has something to do with language, definitely. So it's not without connections, I guess. Okay, thank you. Nadia?
Well, when I was younger, I thought that every job will pay off and that everything will be great. But now that I'm grown up, I see that it's not like that. And I'm not sure, too, for my ideal job, but I think that it will be something with people, because I really like to work with people, talk, I don't know, help them, maybe with kids even, I'm not sure. And that's it. I will try to find something that makes me happy and it pays off, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Anya?
Well, I always wanted to do something with the English language, and I hope I can become a translator, any type of translator that works. I don't know, that was always kind of my dream, because I always admired how translator in court are so fast when they translate from one side to another.
That's interesting. Okay, this is once again going to sound like an advertisement for our own department, but you guys have consecutive translation in your 4th year, I think. Also with Professor Dusan, which is basically where you learn the basics of how oral translation works, like in court or something like that. So might be an interesting thing for you. Okay, Luca.
I definitely relate with Nicolia. I wouldn't mind doing anything related to English. I love the English language, and I wouldn't mind being a translator. I wouldn't mind being like an interpreter or anything like that, or even a professor. I actually quite like that. But I would definitely like to do something that's creative and where I can kind of put my creative juices in. Yeah, where I can kind of control everything and make something like a piece of art. Like I've tried writing in the past, but I also like to try and do music sometimes.
Yeah, well, I guess you can combine all of these, to an extent. And if they pay you for it, then that's definitely a job to an extent. You know what they say, find a job that you like and you'll never have to work a day in your life. And it's definitely true. Mateo?
I would really like to own a gym one day, but not have it as my main business, but as a side business, basically. I'd have something else to basically focus on, and then basically have other people work in the gym, at the gym, and basically only be the owner of it.
That's interesting. Let's face it, that's one of the things we usually forget, and that's, body health or physical health, and that's a nice idea. I like that. Stevane?
Well, in my case, ever since the 1st and 2nd year of high school, I always thought that I would be a programmer in the future. But after learning JavaScript, HTML, and CSS, and all the programming languages, I realized it's boring. And I started teaching online English. And after that, I kind of realized, teaching is like kind of my future profession so far, unless I change it in the future. But yeah, so far that's my goal.
Okay, that's cool. In that case, obviously, considering the practice that you guys have, starting with I think already the second year, I think you'll find it quite interesting. Obviously, there's a lot of work involved, truth be told, but I'm sure if you enjoy that, I'm sure you'll find it very interesting, or to your liking, if you will. Okay, so let's get back to the reader and try to at least do this. There's a picture here which is black and white and somewhat messy, but there are still some things that you can make out here and there. So look at the picture below and see how many jobs you can identify in it. Try to make a list and fill these lines with everything that you can find on the picture. I'll give you guys about 6 or 7 minutes to do this on your own, and then we'll see what you found in the picture. If there are any questions, of course, I'll be here. Okay, let's start. Would anyone like to start with the professions that he or she has found in this picture? And then obviously we'll add something that may have been missed. Okay, let's hear Milos, for example.
I found 8, so I'm gonna go in order. Policeman, that's the guy like down right.
Okay.
Cook, he stands in front of the threads.
Okay.
The bus driver who's driving a bus down there. The ticket salesman on the right, I guess.
Okay.
Or something.
Yeah, we can also call him ticket enforcement officer, something like that.
Yeah.
But ticket salesman is fine.
I think the down left, he's a plumber or something. I think that's a pipe work.
Yeah, definitely a plumber.
Then there's glass cleaner that cleans glass. I don't know how to call them.
They're usually called window washers, actually. Yeah.
Artists, I think that's the guy in the window on the top right. I think, I'm not sure.
Yeah, or a painter, something like that.
And I found the bank teller. That's the lady that works in the bank.
Okay, yeah, the bank teller. Thank you. Okay, Anya, would you like to add anything to this list?
Dentist in the window. A garbage man on the left. A painter who is the guy standing on the roof. The ice cream man. A dog walker. And a repairman who's just sitting next to the broken fountain.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the one. Okay, thank you. Nadia, would you like to add anything else?
Yes, I have 2 more. Plumber, it's down left. And cashier, the person who works in Betaby. And pointsman, that's the officer, I think, in front of the store.
Okay. Okay.
And that's it.
There's also, I think, I'm not sure where he is, but there's a shoe shiner in the picture somewhere. But we'll skip that one. It doesn't necessarily have to be everything. Okay, Natalia, would you like to add anything?
Well, I'm not sure if we said this, but I think that there's a postman above the plumber. At least he looks like a postman to me.
Oh yeah, the guy with the mustache.
Yeah.
Most likely he's a postman, yeah. Okay, very good. Natalia Krstić?
Yeah, I think that this is a nurse in the bus. That there's a nurse.
Oh yeah. I actually didn't notice that. Yeah.
Yeah, and a priest, I think, in front of the theater. I'm not sure.
A priest? Okay. Yeah, he does seem to be holding a book, and it might be a Bible, so yeah, he could be a priest.
Yeah, and the conductor on the bus.
Okay.
And a handyman. I wrote handyman.
Mm-hmm.
He's repairing something, and that's it.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, all of these can be found in this picture. So I think we've found everything. Now let's proceed to the bottom of the page. Now make a list of at least 10 other jobs that people do which are not on your list above. So You guys can write in the chat box, actually. So we have as many professions that we can think of. Anything that you didn't find in this picture and you consider interesting that might be added to this list. Pilot, teacher, writer, nurse, beekeeper, nice. Doctor, musician, electrician, librarian, firefighter, actor, butcher, gardener, physician, excellent singer, mechanic, judge, nice, bouncer, very good, lawyer, caregiver, okay. I'm not sure if we mentioned that, babysitter, yes, engineer also, or architect, valet, very good, nice. What else? Mason, okay. Economist, okay. Laborer. A forklift driver, nice. Surgeon. Pool cleaner, accountant. Yeah, very good. Cashier. Secretary. Business owner. Baker, okay. Social worker. I guess we'll get into more details concerning factory workers or company workers on the next class. But I'm glad we mentioned some of these already. Okay. Journalist, yes. Therapist or psychiatrist, I guess. Also, I'm not sure if we mentioned pharmacist or chemist. Florist, perhaps, someone who sells flowers. Private investigator, yes, very good. A detective, if you will. What else? A line worker, for example, someone who works at a factory, on a factory line. Ok, to je definitivno i više od 10 profesija koje zahteva ovo vežbanje su. You may actually fill the whole page with everything we've said so far. Ok, što se mene tiče, to je to. Class dismissed. Postavit ću vam domaći posle časa sa svim potrebnim instrukcijama za pisanje. I to je to. Thank you for another wonderful class. This was a really good discussion on many things. So take care of yourself. War criminal, that's an interesting profession to have. Okay, but yes, although temporary. Take care of yourself i vidimo se iduće srede. Same time.
Doviđenja.
Doviđenja.